Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the whole elect. New in the gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. Spirits that be created for vengeance. It says, man 38 rams his SUV into girl 16, splitting her body in half after she rejected him. It's crazy work, man. These spirits are out here, man. If you look in the guy's spirit, you can tell he got demons on him. Okay? You could tell he got demons on him. Because this little girl, I mean, she's 16 years old. Now, the thing of it is, like, why are you trying to holler at a 16-year-old girl anyway, bro? I mean, this ain't 2,000 years ago. And in Canada, you may can get away with this shit. But in America and just the Western hegemony, period, these behaviors are frowned upon, even though she would be considered a woman, you know, that's that's able to procreate and bear children and often be betrothed at that age and be married off at that age in normal culture, so to speak. But in this culture, it's the total opposite. You know, when a man basically has to wag his tail to get things that he needs in his kingdom. But the point being is, we don't know how she rejected him. I mean, there could have been some type of disrespect there. That usually come in attendance of the so-called black woman. But, I mean, if you pay attention to him, I mean, I don't know if this guy's from America, but even in these particular cultures with the Northern Kingdom, they get women at a young age. And the fact that she's dressed with her cleavage out, short shorts on, I mean, she's dressed like a harlot, you know. So, I mean, we don't know if he knew the girl's age, which we're not going to justify and say he didn't or he did. But the point about it is demons do got a spirit on them, all right? And the Most High is putting spirits on individuals to lash out in such a grotesque manner because, see, this world is getting ready to fall within itself, man, okay? From economic stability to uproars to the people, to the martial law, to World War III. The World War III is on the horizon. One guy on the comment board, he asked me to do a lesson on the Third World War. So what I do, I gather up some information because there's so much shit happening in the world to the point I'm not completely 100% hip to I won't say not hip to the latest information over there in the Middle East because there's so much going on at once. But in order to put it right on track, you got to kind of start from where it all began. And essentially, that's going all the way back into 2022 from when the war in Ukraine began, then re-kicking back up during the time of October 7th of 2023. And then, henceforth from Gaza to the, it's a lot that goes along with it. So we have to follow the breadcrumbs. So I will make it my priority to get more information as to what's going on as far as the third woe. All right. And I give you bits and pieces of it to put together a full picture as to what the hell is happening and where we are at on a prophetic timeline. All right. So with that being said, it says splitting her body in half after she rejected him. So he basically plowed into this girl and took her out, man. Whew, it's getting crazy out here, to say the least. That's why we got to be circumspect, brothers. People are out here. Demons are out here. But it says prosecutors state that Gomez have made unwanted advances towards the teen and our mother minutes earlier, which were rejected, leading to the confrontation. Intoxicated and unlicensed, he intentionally accelerated onto the sidewalk, causing severe harm before fleeing the scene. It says Gomez now faces murder, attempted murder, and DWI charges. This heartbreaking case highlights the dangers of rejection-fueled violence, and oftentimes that come from women being given the power of authority to make these ruinous choices, and then it ends with them on the receiving end of judgment, and now everybody else have to come to their beck and call. Well, he shouldn't have done that. Well, if women were in a proper order, not saying that this is okay, but see, you have to understand there's an order for a reason. And when that order is not followed, then things like this can happen because they're out of order. Okay? The scriptures say where no hedge is, the possession there is spoiled. But see, they didn't mention that he made unwanted advances towards the mother as well. So they didn't, they made it sound like he was trying to come at the girl. We don't know if he was trying to highlight the mother and the girl started to talk shit and he just ran their ass over. We don't know that, but they're making it worse than what it, even though this is bad, but they're going to add spice to the sauce, so to speak. Okay, now when you go in the comment boards, and this is this is part of this. This is what happens when you're in this type of world, this setup. They're not going to look at the fact that these women were out of order, okay? They're going to look at him like he's a pig, he's a predator, which he is. You know, it's a fucked up thing to do to somebody, you know, because they rejected your ass. But you have to understand the Lord is putting that ancient spirit back in the earth too. And men, they just like, you know what, bitch, I'm not finna sit up here and take disrespect from you. I'll kill you before I let you fucking talk any way to me. And that's the spirit that's coming back out here, which is why you women, man, you're going to be on the receiving end of harsh judgment. Okay, it says he killed the child because she didn't want to date his old ass. I hope the prison population takes care of him real soon. So he automatically is going to have a death sentence when he goes to prison because he's offended a girl and the woman. And we know that this society is gynocentric when it caters to the rudiments of fucking women, which is a setup. That's a recipe for disaster. Okay, they outnumber 7-1. You would never win in a world like this when women are at the helm of protection. It says that wasn't exactly what happened. It says the man was assaulted by one of the boys that was walking with the victim. They left the culprit assaulted with a bloody face, and the culprit simply returned the energy and back at a whole group ending a life. So you see, but they left that out of there. That's the point. They left that out of there because I didn't even know those details. See, that makes it make sense now. But see, it goes to say, why was he attacked? What was the altercation? Did he start it? Did they start it? And this is where Esau's shitty law falls apart because he's supposed to cross-examine and figure out what led to this instead of just putting the bullshit convoluted story out there, making everybody look at one side of the story like, oh, well, he's a pig, he's a murderer, not knowing that the dude was beat the fuck up. Hell, if you getting jumped by a bunch of people too, you may fucking decide to plow a car into a bunch of people. But since he's of Northern Kingdom descent, it appears, he's not going to get that gratuity because the world hates our people. Okay, it says he had a bloody face, but he was still alive. Come on now, assault and murder are two different things. Look, man, if somebody assaults you, you have to have the attention that they're trying to kill you. And if you take it a step further, then it is what it is. Okay, like in a street fight. I mean, yeah, you got a such thing as excessive force, but if somebody pulls a knife on me in a street fight, then I'm assuming that this nigga is trying to take my life. So what the fuck am I going to do? I'm going to give this man an opportunity to do so? Oh no, man. And this is the part about the hypocrisy and the biasness of a world like this, man. And this is why this world is falling the way it's falling. Because this is only one story of a many, and this is just something small compared to what's getting ready to go down across the whole provinces of Esau's kingdom. You know? It says, probably assaulted for creeping on their 16-year-old friend. You see, automatically it's this guy's fault. And this is why a lot of you men in America are going to be unalived on the spot, man. It says, bro could be her dad. What's wrong with him? He's old enough to be our dad, though. But yet they ain't read no comments. No worry they would catch. They would. Prison population. Hate child killer. The boy is protecting the girl. Hope he gets everything coming his way, devil. How does this not qualify for the instant death penalty? What's wrong with men's emotional intelligence and health nowadays? You see how it's a man's fault? Now, I'm not saying what he did was right. But if you look at and you cross-examine within the legality of the law, statutes, and commandments, I mean, technically, the situation was dealt with the way it needed to be fucking dealt with. And it is what it is, okay? And we're coming back into a dog-eat-dog world, okay? You women, you getting ready to learn the hard way. Isaiah 32, and this is why you're going to have to be around the man of the Lord, because you're going to have fucking lunatics and crazy people out here looking to unalive you just because, man. Okay, America's getting ready to turn into a straight madhouse. It's a movie that came out maybe 15 years ago called The Crazies. And it basically townspeople think it was something contaminated in the water supply in the air. And people, they just start going out to one another, and they had no regards for life, as the scriptures go into that. But it says, as a man should be, this is Isaiah 32:2. It says, and a man should be a hiding place from the wind, and a cover from tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as a shadow of a great rock in a weary land. So a man will be your protection in that day. Not your careers, not your degrees, not your credentials, okay? Not your pew-pew, all right? Not your feminism, but it says a man. Okay, this world is getting ready to go back to a proverbial order that the Lord has intended. But in order for all this shit to break down, all this chaos to break down, is going to be confusion and chaos because it's a chaotic world. So when chaos is breaking down, ultimately the environment will become chaotic. That's just how these things work. Got a bunch of entitled people running around outside of their roles, not knowing which way is which leads to falsified behavior. All right. And it says here, and the eyes of them that see should not be dim, and the ears of them that hear shall hearken. Yeah. We're coming to the time now that people are saying, you know what? These Hebrew Israelites are actually right. The only people that give us the much kickback is our people, predominantly the woman. Okay, see, the woman, she's the one that gives the most resistance in these things, but she be the first one to get in order once adversity finds her or meets her halfway in the street. See, when adversity finds them and say, you know what, take your shit off, let's go ahead and square up in the street, let's go ahead and get this fight on. That's when a woman tends to get in order. She gets fearful because harm, you know. But adversity is going to be your teacher in that day. And we're seeing it. Crazy men like this plowing into a group of teenagers. Hey, that's wild. And if the mother, and in his defense, which I'm not defending him, but in his defense, if the bride was dressed like an actual 16-year-old, you know, and had some modesty about it, maybe he wouldn't try to talk to her. Maybe he tried to talk to the mother. Maybe they making it worse than what it is. You know, I mean, yeah, you got some deviants out there that will try to talk to little girls and shit. They do have those people out there, but in a lot of cases, man, most men ain't hung up to deal with no goddamn teenager, man. You know why? You know, a lot of men, they do like younger women. They just naturally, you know, whether they in their 20s or early 30s. Ain't nobody looking to grab up no goddamn teenagers, man, you know. But when you got teenagers out here staying out to 3 o'clock in the morning wearing skimpy clothes, I mean, then, you know, you question them, how old is this chick? And then you go and shoot your shot. You find out she's a fucking toddler when you thought she was 25 years old. And you're like, oh, whoa, you know. Sick world. And it says, and the heart of the rash shall also understand knowledge, and the tongue of the stammerer should be ready to speak plainly. The vile person should no more be called liberal, because the liberalism is big here. There's a divisive now between the right wing and the left wing. Also, the troll should be bountiful, for the vile person will speak villainy, and in his heart will work iniquity to practice hypocrisy. And that's why these stories are being twisted like that. Okay, Esau is the villain, to utter error against the Lord, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he would cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. Yep. Okay. The instruments also of the troll are evil. He devises wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speak it right. But the liberal devises liberal things, and stand by liberal things shall he stand. But rise up, ye women that are at ease, and hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. Many days in a year shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, and the gathering shall not come in. So we're coming into them times now that the vintage there is failing. Okay, men are crashing out. They not giving a shit no more. They like, look, I will put you and your entire family in the spirit world if you think to buck up against me, man. And a lot of it is because this is the book of Habakkuk 1 and 2. O Yahweh, how long should I cry, and thou wilt not hear? Even cry out of thee of violence, and thou wilt not save. And this is the spirit that the men of the Lord are coming in. How long until the Most High finally allows this place to finally fold within itself? Okay, we ready to see chaos in these streets, man. Me personally, I'm ready to see how well I fare up against this adversity out here, because when the hell, we've never dealt with a society to collapse as a collective, bro. So how we stand in that day is going to test the time on whether we grounded or not. And I'm waiting on that day. I want to see how I root up against this shit, you know, because the Lord's going to have a certain spirit on us, man. And we going to have to be locked in and be ready for whatever comes our way and not second guess shit. Remember, brothers, in that day, all bets are fucking off. All right. So just keep that in mind. Stay out the way. Keep the Heavenly Father first and do what the Spirit tells you to do. Follow the Spirit. And that's the advice I can give you. You'll figure the rest out as you go if you can read between the lines. But in that day, all bets going to be off. So when all bets off and, you know, things happen, then it's safe to say that you people going to be on the receiving end of judgment. All right? Whether that be from the men of the Lord, the angels, or whoever. But eventually you people are going to get what's coming to you. There's getting ready to be a goddamn threshing floor in a minute. And I want to see this shit fall. I want to see it with my own 2 eyes. Scriptures say, blessed be he that liveth to see the downfall of his enemies. I'm ready to see you devils fall, man. All right? Because you people, you're just in the way. We trying to get the kingdom. All right? Anyway, it says, why dost thou show me iniquity and cause me to behold grievance? It says, for spoiling and violence are before me, and they are they that rise up strife and contention. Yeah. Things are backwards here, man. Scriptures say, he that departed from evil maketh himself what? A prey. Therefore the law is slack, and judgment never doth go forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore for wrong judgment proceedeth. Okay, so everything is out of whack. I didn't even know that he was attacked. They didn't put that in the tabloids because they want you to look at it like, oh well, he's a predator, and he may be. But be transparent, and that's one thing you do not get in this world is transparency. Okay, their version of transparency is not the truth. When you omit shit out, that's not being transparent. It's called being deceitful. Like a chick could tell you, oh yeah, I went to a party. Yeah, she admits she went to the club, but she ain't gonna admit she went to the club and twerked on some niggas and got ran by 3 or 4 dudes in the car. She ain't gonna tell you all that. She's just gonna say, yeah, we had a couple of drinks, we danced and kicked it. She's gonna leave a whole plethora of information out. It's gonna be a big time stamp missing. So what did you do between the hours of 11:30 and 3 o'clock that morning? That's gonna be a big blur. But yet she would tell you where she was at, but she ain't gonna fill in the blanks. That's not transparency. That's called being deceitful, manipulative. But it says, behold ye among the heathen, and regard to wonder marvelously. For I will work a work in your days which you will not believe, but though it be told to you. And that's the rising up of the tribes, man. Okay, the threshing of this system. Last precept. Sirach 39, and I'm going to start at verses 24. And I should have brought this out in the last lesson. But it says, as his ways are plain unto the holy, so are they stumbling blocks unto the wicked. For the good are the good things created from the beginning, so evil things for sinners. Yep, judgment. The Lord creates good and evil, for those that do good, reap the benefits. Those that live wicked, then, like the scriptures say, sin lieth at the door. But the principal things, and I'm going to go down, it says, all these things are for good to the godly, so that the sinners are turned into evil. For there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their very long sore strokes, and in the time of their destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. So you have certain spirits that's created to do just this. And as time progresses, we're going to see more and more of these particular attacks. Fire and hell and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serial killers, serpents, and the sword punishing the wicked to destruction. It says they should rejoice in his commandment, and they should be ready upon earth when need is. And when that time has come, they should not transgress his word. So that little demon whispered in this guy's ear, say, get him. And he did just that. And of course he retaliated because apparently they attacked him, but you would never hear about that. But regardless of it, you can tell he got some demons on his ass, man. Okay, scriptures say going out in the way of a furious man. All right, it says in Queens, New York, tragic incident unfold September 13th, 38-year-old Edwin Cruz Gomez allegedly drove his SUV into a group of pedestrians after an argument. See, this is more transparent than this shit here. It says the victim, 16-year-old Jahoni Gomez Alvarez, was fatally struck along with her mother and stepfather outside a restaurant in Elmhurst. So, yeah. I perceive it to be he probably trying to holler at the girl, probably didn't know her age, and the father came out being emotional, spazzed out. The mother got involved in it, because the woman is emotional, and then they probably try to beat the guy up, and then he ran their ass over. And that's just what I get from it. I could be wrong, but, it's just common sense, But anyway, with that, shalom.